Hey guys, Martin again from CueServer. Today I'm going to talk to you about the CueServer and also the CueServer trigger options like the CueStation and the CueStation Hub. Basically, this is a great alternative to triggering cues and different stuff that and scenes that you may have recorded on your CueServer in a very simplistic manner. You know, if you have a type of job that you're doing for a customer and they want a very basic way to trigger off certain cues and things and lights, this makes it very simple for the end user, you know. So they simply just click a button and it'll trigger off that certain light or that certain show or whatever that they're trying to do. So this is great, like I said, for simplistic installations where your end user is not a technician or he's not tech savvy at all. So basically, the components that you need to undercarry this type of application is going to be your CueStation. Here we're using an 8-button Mistique. It's a 2-wire system. The 2-wire system is a more basic system. There's also the 5-wire and the passive, but the 2-wire is great because, you know, there's no polarity between the 2 wires, and you know it works pretty well for what it is. The other thing you need is your CueStation Hub. The hub is where the CueStation itself connects to. Okay, with this hub you can connect up to 10 2-wire system, 8-button ones, so you could do a total of 8-button CueStation pads on per hub. And then you also need a network switch or a network hub. Basically, what the network hub's going to do, it's going to connect everything together. So you don't, you know, if you try to connect the hub directly to the CueServer, it's just not going to work. You know, I'm not exactly sure why that is, but it's just not going to work. It's not really stated in the manuals, at least that I saw. So, you know, I'm sure there's other people that have ran into this issue. But yeah, just make sure that you do have a network hub set up for your whole system. So I'm going to show you some basic things and the basic way to set up your different triggers and all that. So here on my screen, I have connected you know, my CueServer and configured everything. And if I go to my Cue list, you will see that I already have Cue set up, okay? And I actually already have some buttons programmed. So I'm gonna show you guys real quick where to go. So you go to Triggers up here in the corner, and then you go to Function Buttons, okay? Those are gonna be your buttons. And the cool thing is that the buttons that you're setting up work here as well as here. So basically this the CueStation is kind of like an extension of the buttons here on the CueServer. So if you see here, I have a whole bunch of buttons programmed. Okay, so for example, I'm gonna delete one of them. Okay, I'm gonna delete this one button, and I'm gonna reprogram it to show you guys. Okay, so you go to add a new button. Okay, and first of all, you gotta realize and think about which one you have available. Obviously, here in the CueServer usually sets everything up for you. So you're gonna go to the type of function. So right now we're just gonna do a preset toggle, which is a very simple function, which means that once you press a button, it'll toggle on that certain cue or that scene. So we go to the type of function, and we're gonna select preset toggle. Okay, and then I already have some scenes written here, and we're actually going to trigger a DMX stream scene, and that's my Q8. So we're going to set there the Q number that we want to preset. Okay, and then there's just all this stuff like fade time. Fade time means from the moment you press a button, how long does it take to dim on that certain cue. So we're going to do maybe like 2 seconds just to give it a little bit of snaz there. And then on action, that means when you press a button, what's going to happen. And the CueServer works by inputting commands. So there's a list of commands that when you set them up in a certain manner, you trigger different functions and different things like that. So basically, here we are going to set what we want it to do when we press a button. So the list of commands, they're all in the manual, but just right now I'm going to skip to it. And it's actually pretty simple. So we're going to tell it to say Q8 go. Okay. It's as simple as that. When you go to the function here in the bottom, you want to make sure the preset is active, and now you save that. Okay, so now we have button number 7. Okay, right here, button number 7, and it's a preset toggle, and it says preset 8, and basically it just tells you all the information. So now, if we go to button number 7, so we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it should actually trigger off our stream, which is a color changing stream. So that's pretty much all there is to it. You know, it's not very complicated, but it does take a little bit of getting used to. So, you know, you could create a bunch of different ones. Here I got like one that releases, turns everything off. I got this one that does, you know, just goes straight red. Got this one that does blue. But if you notice, it actually fades. So I programmed it to when you go to from one to the other, it'll fade in between. So you get that cool little fade effect there. That one's supposed to be green. And this one here, it's like a still multicolored one. This is another stream, which is like a scrolling color effect. And then lastly, the one we just programmed. So remember, you're gonna need network switch. You're gonna need your CueStation Hub, obviously your CueStation keypad here, and you know this works pretty much with any CueServer. So you know, if you guys have any questions, comments, ideas, anything like that, don't forget to check out our website. Also, leave us a comment, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So thanks for watching.